Alrighty, and welcome to In God We Trust, folks. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. In a world that's drifting from its moral anchor, we're here to speak truth, defend the faith, and reignite the flame of patriotism, family, and fearless Christian living. Every week we unpack the issues facing our nation, our churches, our homes, through the lens of God's unchanging word and the enduring spirit of the American dream. You know, we're not here to blend in. We're here to stand out. Because in this house, in God, we still trust. So grab your cup of coffee, folks. Open your Bible. Let's dive in. Amen. Well, I'm really excited, folks. This is a brand new show that we're launching here on the Godstream Network. It's called In God We Still Trust. And it's going to really be all about faith and freedom and the enduring patriotism that we as Christians have here in this country. And I cannot be more excited to do a show like this because it's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And so I want to remind you, if you'd like to join us on Godstream TV, we're going to be up there. We're going to be there weekly, which is going to be really cool. Really excited about that. You can see us on the Godstream Network. You can see us on Godstream TV on YouTube. And I'm really, really excited about what this show is going to be all about. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, very short amount of time. So let's get to it. Amen. I want to share with you, even as we begin this show, about my own faith walk and things that have gone on me that bring me to a show like this. And growing up, I'm probably like a lot of people. I really didn't have a lot of people around me who showed how faithful they really were, to show how much patriotism they had. But one day, I was working at a church here locally in Las Vegas. That's where we film this at. And one of my pastors, his name is Joel, and he said to me, he goes, "Hey, Sherman, I've got, this was just a few years back, to tell you the truth." He said to me, he goes, "Hey, how would you like to work on a political campaign?" And I thought to myself, really, man, I never really thought about it. I was really into business, and I was into music, and I was into stuff like that, but really never thought about politics, even though I was a Reagan baby. I was a self-described Reagan baby, which means I was raised during those times when Ronald Reagan was the president. And so I was I was definitely a Reagan baby, but never thought about going into politics, that type of thing. And he says, "Yeah, come on down to this meeting, and we're gonna help Ben Carson run." Okay, so this was back in 2015, 2014 year, season 2015. And so he invited me to be a part of the Ben Carson campaign. People were there, room full of people, and to tell you the truth, it just never clicked with me. It really didn't. I got to tell you, I got to be very honest with me. It just didn't click with me. And so I kind of bailed the entire thing. I really didn't do anything until towards the end when they were doing the primaries. Okay, so they're doing the primaries now. And I'd been watching the news, and I'd been watching what was going on and who was doing what, and that kind of stuff. So I had been watching a lot of it. But I really wasn't into it, you know what I mean? I was watching Donald Trump, and I was watching all these other people, and I was following along, and so they said, "Would you come and be a precinct worker and help the people who are watching or who are coming out to vote?" So I went down to our local high school, and I had my little suit on and stuff like that. And they gave me a sign for Ben Carson. And I'm standing up there, and I'm kind of doing my Ben Carson thing. You've probably seen this before, guys. You've probably all seen this before. Where the guy stands up there, and he's got a sign, and people are going in, and people are saying yay or nay or whatever. And people, to a man, were saying, "Nope, it's Donald Trump. Nope. Ben Carson's a nice guy, but he didn't got a shot at this. This is Donald Trump's time." And I was going, "That's wonderful, And this went on for hours and hours. I've got my little suit on, and people are asking me which way to go, and they're thinking I'm somebody because I got a suit on, right? And I hear this audible voice, you guys. I kid you not, I hear this audible voice that says, hey, Sherman, you need to get involved in politics. And I went, what? Where's this voice coming from? What do you mean I got to get involved in politics? I literally heard the voice of God say, you've got to start getting involved in this. And I could hear it, and it kept going, and I got it. I literally got it just then and there, and I went, oh my gosh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be getting involved in politics at some level. That's how I got started in politics. Literally, that's how I got started in politics. I ran for office that a couple of years later. I got involved in this, in our local government. I started doing podcasts. I started rubbing elbows with all guys. It was an ordained thing. I kid you not, which leads us up to where we're at now. It became a part of and a kind of a part of my persona that we're doing this. And so we started a small media company, and it's called S-Ray Media Group. And so we do podcasts. We do, a couple of shows that we do. We have Godstream TV. I'm a pastor. It's all led up to this over the years. And as you look back, you go, oh my gosh, I think I've grown more passionate about our country. I've grown more passionate about who I am and what our country is, and especially about any kind of anything that comes in between what I believe is our God-ordained path for this country and us getting there. And there's a lot of them. We're going to talk about that, you guys. But so now, I was kind of looking back at another way of actually getting more and more people involved. So we started another show, and it's called Christian American Magazine, and it also has Christian American News. But it still does not fulfill what I believe God has got for us. And so I started doing a little bit more research, and I really believe that In God We Still Trust is going to be the platform that's going to start getting more and more Christians involved in politics and getting them in the way. So you guys stick around. We'll take a short break. Come back. We'll talk more about some cool things that are going on in the blogosphere, and hope that this is something that will spark interest maybe in you. I'll be right back. All right, and we are back, folks. This is Sherman Ray, and this is, it's a brand new show. It's In God We Still Trust, guys. In God We Still Trust. And it just kind of rolls off your tongue, doesn't it? In God We Still Trust, okay? It's the In God We Still Trust podcast, and I hope that you're joining us. Maybe you're joining us for the first time. You might be watching us on, I'm going to look up on our Godstream channel right now. So if you're watching on Godstream, you're probably thinking, man, where'd this show come from? Very excited about it. It's a brand new show. It's up and running right now. We're going to also have we've got our own YouTube channel that we're going to be lighting up here pretty quick also, and you'll be able to get that too. So just check it out, folks. We'd love for you to get in on the conversation. As I said before, when I first got started in politics, it's probably about 2015, 2016, and like I said, it was more of a, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a, it wasn't like, hey, guess what, jump involved in this thing and you're going good. No, really, it was more of a, I was standing there and God started speaking to me, so that's really kind of the way it was. So, in this second segment, let's talk a little bit about faith, our foundations of family and freedom. Okay, and no, as a matter of fact, let's talk about the anchor of our faith. Okay, the anchor of our faith. So why is faith in God? Why faith in God must come before faith in our government? And I keep talking about this even in my church. I talk about this a lot. If you look at Psalms 33:12, and it says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." And this is probably one of the most pivotal things that you could even speak about for believers, is that even though we have government, and some of us are on the right side of the aisle, some of us are on the left side of the aisle, that's not where we have our faith in, folks. This is probably the most important thing we can think about. That's really not where our faith is founded upon. And I love Donald Trump. I've met him before. I might bring up a picture of him at some point. But God, we don't put our faith in chariots or horses. Okay, we put our trust and our faith in God, because He's the one who gives all of what we need. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. And that's our biggest obstacle that a lot of Christians get involved in. We've got people who are who are bona fide Christians. Okay, there's no doubt about it. They go to church, they pray, they weep, they do the whole thing. Okay, they tithe, the whole thing. Okay, but when they talk about politics, folks, they just go, they run to that side, the other ones run to this side, and and if you cross that line, boy, you might as well just not call you a child of God. Here's the problem: is that are you a Christian or are you a political person? Okay, my trust is in God. Okay, and if your trust is in God, it makes politics very easy. I mean, it makes it very easy. Okay, because if it doesn't line up with God, guess what? I can't accept it. And that's why I can't understand why they have so many people who are, in churches all across the fruited plain, and they have any compunction of deciding on who they're going to vote for. I mean, I just don't understand it. So here. This is the way I look at politics, guys. Guess what? And this is the way I look at your voting record. Okay, if you're a man, you're not perfect, right? Okay, I think we'd all agree with that. If you're mankind, you're not perfect. But God is not asking for perfection. He's asking for you to be obedient to Him. Okay, He's asking you to be obedient. And we slip, we fall on occasion, we get back up. We slip, we fall, we get up, we ask for forgiveness, okay? We don't practice slipping and falling. It just happens, okay? Sometimes we screw up, okay? That, I can say, is one political party. You can see it happen all the time. The folks tend to be fairly on top of it all the time. They're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, as opposed to other religions, other political systems. Other political systems stand for and identify with evil. Okay, identify with things that don't comport with the Bible. Okay. If your political party, I'm going to make it even simpler for you. If your political party says that homosexuality is okay, if it says, I think I don't have to go through all of them, okay, guys. But if abortion is the main thing that your political party is standing upon, and you are supporting them, guess what, guys? You might want to think about this. I'm not telling you you're going to hell or not, okay? I'm not your God, okay? I'm just a lowly old pastor, okay? I'm just a lowly old guy, okay? But I can say this, that you got to start thinking about this, and not just thinking about it. You've got to start thinking to yourself, man, what am I doing here? Okay, what am I doing here? Because am I supporting something that if I stood in front of God, okay, here we go. Let's do another one. If I stood in front of God right now and He says, okay, let's see, Sally or James or John or whatever your name is, okay? This is what you supported your entire life, okay? And this is what you gave your money for, okay? And you had to look at what you did. Would you say, oh, God, I did all right? There you go, okay? And that's kind of where we're at in this whole thing, okay? So that's where we're at. before we go much further, folks, I want to let you know, in this show, this first show is going to be a little different. We are definitely going to start talking about some trends and some of the things that's going on in the world right now, because there's a lot of stuff going on. But I wanted to lay the groundwork for people who are watching the show, people who are going to be watching it on a consistent basis, that we are not here to, to conform to the world. The word talks about it in Romans. It says that to not conform to the world. We don't want to blend in. We want to stand out. We are overtly Christian, guys. Guess what? I got no problem telling you that. And we're going to stay that way. Okay? That's why it says in God we still trust. When we talk about the founding fathers, we'll be talking about them in just a minute. Guys, guess what? That's where we're at in this whole thing. So, so when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the founding fathers. We're going to talk a little bit more about how we as a nation should be standing behind godly principles, and maybe how we can turn this whole thing around for Jesus Christ. This is Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust. We'll be back just a second. And we are back, folks. This is Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust. I want to thank you all for being a part of the broadcast right now. And I want to thank the folks that are watching us on YouTube. You're probably thinking to yourself, man, this is a brand new show. Yes, you are right. It's a brand new show. I'm very excited about it. It's called In God We Still Trust. It's a look. It's an unashamed look at our Christian heritage. It's an unashamed look at how we as Christians can get involved in this whole process, this whole governance thing, because guys, guess what? That's what we're supposed to do. Matter of fact, our founding fathers envisioned something like this happening. What's going on with the nation right now, that they said, guess what? If Christians don't get involved in government, if we don't really are active about picking the people who govern this land, we're going to have problems. Okay? So it's just kind of the way we are right now. So let's go. In this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about family, foundations, freedom. The family, guys, the mother, father, 2 kids, kid and a half, maybe a dog, cat. It's the backbone of America, guys. It is literally the backbone of America. And our nation. Elon Musk said something about this really earlier. He was talking about that the number one issue we're having with the globe is population decline. Remember, there was a time when they used to talk about population. There's overpopulation, too many people. Well, not in America, folks. Here in America, guess what? We've got population decline, where we've got people. We got less and less people here, and as a result of that, you know what we're doing? Is we're importing people. We're importing people who normally would not be here in America, or would be here, but just not in as big numbers. But the family unit, what it stands for, what it does for a nation, that's really the backbone of America. The Bible talked about, told Abraham, he says, hey, guess what? You're going to multiply, and your seed is going to be a blessing to the world. Well, in Genesis, the Lord spoke to Adam and Eve, and he said the same thing. He says, okay, be fruitful and multiply. Okay? Repopulate this land. Okay? In order for America to be successful, America's got to continue to expand. America's and our ideology's got to continue to expand. One of the things that the forefathers of our nation who planted this country said is that they wanted to expand Christianity throughout the new world, which is this world we're living in right now. And by extension, guys, guess what? That's what we need to do also. And we can't do that if we keep going backwards, though. when we're not having babies, we're not expanding, and we're not teaching our kids how to be Christians. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things we need to begin to do also. We need to teach biblical values, the biblical values that made this land great. This is probably one of the biggest things. There is a reason, folks, why it takes so long to become an American citizen. And I don't think people understand this. You know, people are thinking, oh, just let them in, just let them in. Come on, just let them in. Okay, just bring them across the border and you just let them in and they'll be fine. The difference between what happened during the early years of America, America's founding, when they had people coming through here and they were giving away land and they were telling people to get in the cities and work on stuff like that. The difference between that and what we have now is a mentality. It's a grit. It's a fiber that is embedded in the people who came here early on, people who were hungry. They were hungry to to make it on their own. And the people that you'll have now. The people you have now, they see what's here and they say, hey, I want some of that. Okay, I don't want to work for it, but I want some of it. Okay, I want to work for somebody. Okay, we don't need that. We need people who want to continue to push the envelope. The same thing with Christianity. We want people here that are going to continue to teach our kids the great stories of old and the great principles of old that made America great. That's why it takes so long to become an American citizen, because if you are not indoctrinated, for lack of a better word, to that lifestyle, guess what? You just don't get it because you're here on terra firma. You're not an American just because you step foot here on American soil. It is ingrained in you. Put it this way: when Americans go to another country, guess what? They know an American when they see one. Okay, they know them as soon as they get off the boat. Right? We just have a certain swagger about us. We have a certain mentality. We have a certain way we walk, a certain way we talk, a certain way we are, and that takes time. We are taught that Christians are the same way. You can tell a Christian from a different person, from other persons. You know, they just kind of stick out like a sore thumb, right? Which is great. We need to teach those values that made America great. And guess what? There's a danger in not remembering those things. There's a danger that we're seeing right now. It was an effort to try to get our roots back out of our country. They're tearing down walls. They're tearing down statues. They're tearing down the Ten Commandments. And what they're trying to do is they're saying, guess what? We don't want to remember what made America great. And as a result of that, guess what happened? Yeah, people just hate this country because they don't know what the country was before. They don't know how it got to this point. And you can ask people, hey, guess what? What happened in 1941? You can ask them, what happened in the 20s. You can ask them who the greatest nation was, who these people were, and they will go, I don't know. And as a result of that, they are the greatest generation, I should have said. They don't know this stuff. They don't know what it took to get the Civil Rights March. Heck, I remember a lady that I met I used to own a restaurant many years ago. And a lady was about 75 years old. She didn't know why the Civil War had been fought or who even fought in the Civil War. And she was she's 75 years of age. And that's crazy. Isn't that crazy? There's a danger in forgetting our roots, you guys. A danger. And we need to get back to those Christian roots, guys. We need to get back to those, because if we don't get back to those Christian roots, teach those to our kids, we are going to regret it. There's no doubt about it. Let's take a really quick break, folks. We've got just a couple more segments here to go, and we're going to be done, okay, for our first show. This has been Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust. We'll be back in just a second. And we are back, you guys. This is Pastor Sherman Ray. And I know I didn't even... This is what I do when we have breaks, guys. We just kind of look around a little bit and get ready for the next segment or something like that. But it's all good. This next segment, let's talk a little bit about the foundation, the cross, and the Constitution. Very short. We're going to make this a little shorter segment because we're going to try to get as much in as we possibly can get in this short amount of time. But really want to make sure you understand something. America and its Christian foundation. There's a guy by the name of David Barton, and David Barton is just a great, not a theologian, he's a historian. He's a guy who understands the history of America, and when he talks about it, you go, oh my gosh, this guy is just amazing. He's got an organization called Wall Builders, and they have a Bible that I know it's back there someplace. He put out a Bible, and it's called the Founders Bible, which is just awesome. If you get a chance, you got to get this. The Founders Bible. And what this Founders Bible does is in between all the Bible itself, it has all of these segments talking about the Founding Fathers and how they were. And many people believe that the Founding Fathers were all deists, which means that they were atheists. They didn't believe in, God or anything like that, and they just thought things happened out of thin air. Okay? But that's a lie. The Founding Fathers, let's talk about the people, one, who first came over here to the country. We're talking about people who were in Britain, and they escaped basically Britain so that they could practice religion, the religion they believed that came straight from the Bible, and they escaped Britain to come over here to America, and they got a charter from the king of Britain at the time, and part of the charter basically said that we are here to, for lack of a better word, to spread Christianity throughout the world, to spread Christianity throughout this new world and to the new people that they were going to encounter here in America. Okay, that's pretty amazing. Because so everything we did here in America, from its founding to the Revolutionary War to its first Constitution, the whole thing, were all based upon what we call a Judeo-Christian ethic, a Judeo-Christian platform, a Judeo-Christian mindset, which means everything we do, from our laws to the way we set up our society, from our civic society, are all built upon the Bible. And even our money, throughout the years our money has changed, but it's gotten more religious than it's gotten less religious. If you look at our dollar bill and it talks about, the symbology, and it's not Masonic, you guys. It really is not. Okay? It has everything to do with Christianity. And we have at our roots of America a Christian soul. And let's say, let me give you one last example here. The first war that was ever fought in America after the Revolutionary War was in the Barbary Coast. Okay, you've got we didn't have a navy at that time, but we did have, trade in that area, in the Barbary area, and we were being attacked by the Muslims, and the Muslims attacked us for one reason, okay, because they knew we were a Christian nation, and they felt that it was their duty, it was their obligation to take us as slaves and to steal our stuff. Okay. Guys, how would they know that we're a Christian nation? Because everybody knew America, that new American society was a Christian nation. Our foundations, our roots are deeply rooted in Christianity, and this is what people are trying to tear apart from America. Isn't that amazing? People come here for what they see, because they see the prosperity, they see all the great things, and yet they say, well, we want to rip that out, though. I'm going, well, here's what the Founding Fathers said about Christianity. They said about the Bible. They said, if you take the Bible out of America, it will cease to be America. And we see it throughout all over America, where you see where people have taken the Bible out, they've taken Christianity out of society, and what has happened to it? It's turned into paganism, it's turned into anarchy, and we're seeing it happen all over California, and we live very close to California. California was a wonderful state. It's a beautiful state, the fourth or fifth largest economy on the planet. Beautiful place, surf and sand and vineyards and everything else, and yet its government is very pagan. And as a result of that, at least a couple of their cities have just become the new Sodom and Gomorrah, and now there's rioting and but here's the thing about it: 99% of California does not want to have to do anything with that part of California that is reprobate, and there's a move afoot to try to curtail that, to secede, to split up California. And guys, guess what? It's because they've forgotten their first love. They've forgotten what made California California. Okay, we're running out of time, but this modern culture is drifting away from God, and that's why this matters. That's why this show matters. That's why people like us matter, that want to bring us back. They want to bring us back to where we should be. Okay? So, what does it mean to be America first? With a kingdom mindset, what does it mean? That we are the city upon a hill. That we are a shining city upon a hill. And if we don't start taking up care of America and getting our house back in order, not just financially, okay, but spiritually, we cannot expect the rest of the world to do that. As a matter of fact, the rest of the world is looking towards us. We have missionaries coming to America because they're saying, guess what, America? If you don't do it, guess what? We're doomed. So we as Americans have got to get our stuff together. America matters. America matters not because we are rich, but because we are spiritual. Because we are the only country other than Israel itself that was founded upon Judeo-Christian ethics. All other countries were just kind of set up. We were set up for one reason: to spread Christianity, to spread the gospel throughout the entire world. And we've got to bring ourselves back to that. Okay? This is important, folks. And we've got to, and if we don't do that, guys, guess what? We're doomed. Okay? We'll be back in just a second, folks, to say goodbye. But once again, I want to encourage you that to support us, to support our show. Okay, in God we trust. We still trust. In God we still trust one at gmail.com. In God we still trust one at gmail.com. We need your support, and we'd love to hear from you. Okay, we'll be back in just a second. All right, folks, we are back. This is, once again, this is Pastor Sherman Ray, and this is In God We Still Trust. I hope you've enjoyed this first show, you guys. Our next shows that we're going to be talking about, guys, we're going to be talking a lot about what's going on in the culture and from a Christian worldview. Can't wait to get to that, folks. Really can. It's going to be very fun. But this first show, we just want to kind of set things up, let you guys know where we're at, who we are, that kind of thing, and hope that you will invite friends to actually listen to the show. So let's end the show on a high note. I wanted to give you a couple of charges. One, be salt and light, you guys. Be salt and light to this world. Let the world know that Jesus Christ is the only way. He's the truth. He's the light, and that if they want to get to know him, you lead them to the Lord. Okay. And I also want you to invite your friends to join the movement, being courageous, being a patriotic Christian out there, you guys. Okay, just encourage your friends, especially all your friends that are out there who are saying they're Christians and yet maybe they don't really go out there and show off and shine their light in the world. Okay, so those are my two charges to you. Okay. Well, once again, thank you for joining us on In God We Still Trust. If this episode has turned your heart, if it stirred your heart up, challenged you to thinking, or reminded you of what you're fighting for, share it with someone. Okay, share it with a friend you love. Okay, remember, truth doesn't change just because the culture does. Amen. And as for us, we're still standing, still praying, and still trusting in God, the one who never fails. I'm Sherman Ray. God bless you. God bless your family, and God bless the USA. We'll see you later, folks. Bye-bye.